During the graveyard shift, I declined a plea to assist my foster sister's patient with a dose of IV. I witnessed a 7-year-old kid kick the bucket from an allergic reaction because of the wrong meds. In my previous life, right after finishing that IV, the furious family stormed the nurse's desk and roughed me up. But it was just glucose. There shouldn't have been any drama. As I started to black out, someone called the cops. I thought my heroes had shown up, didn't expect my brother-in-law, who's a cop, to pin me down. My medic examiner, Alex, pulled out an autopsy report and blamed me. I couldn't get my story out and ended up getting beaten to death by the enraged family. Till the end, I couldn't get why my loving brother and Alex turned on me. When I opened my eyes, I was back to that night again. On the graveyard shift, I said no to helping with my foster sister's patients. Watched that 7-year-old boy die from an allergy. In my last life, I just wrapped up the IV, and the family went off on me at the nurse's station. You gave my grandson the wrong IV and killed him. But it was glucose. Nothing should have gone sideways. Someone called the police as I was fading, and I thought my rescue was here. My brother slammed me down. Your prints are on the IV bottle. You're a killer. My ex, Alex the medical examiner, used the autopsy to testify against me. Time of death was around 5, right when you were handling the IV. I couldn't argue and got beaten to death. I never got why my sweet brother and ex did this to me, even till the end. Opening my eyes, I found myself back to that night. Hey Lily, Jamie's not feeling too hot. You're on the graveyard shift anyway. Give her a hand. My brother's warm voice on the phone gave me chills. I checked the clock. 2 a.m. Staring at the busy nurse's desk for a bit, I realized I was back. Lily gave me a push when she saw me zoning out. If you're cool with it, I'm out of here. My stomach's killing me. Need some rest at home. Remember to handle the IV for bed 6 at 5, all right? Last time, I'm helping Lily for my brother's sake. Something felt off as I approached the patient. The little boy was buried under sheets, only his pale face lit by the moonlight. Before I could check, Lily called. Done with the IV. I was puzzled. The kid's out cold. Something's not right. I'll check first. Lily freaked out on the line. That boy's been restless all day. Don't you dare wake him. I felt uneasy still. Where are his folks? Why no one's watching him? None of your business. Just swap the IV bottle. It's not like you need to stick him again. Why are you so slow? Gonna wake him up, huh? The bottle was just glucose for energy, so I felt a bit better. This little slip-up weighed heavy later. The next day, as I was about to switch shifts, the boy's family barged in and trashed me. I found out he died from an allergic shock, and I was the last to give the IV. But how could he react to glucose? Lily blamed me hard. Sam did the IV. I had nothing to do with it. I thought my brother and ex would help clear things up, but even my cop brother turned on me. The prints on the IV bottle are Sam's. She's definitely to blame. Alex, my ex, threw the report at me. Time of death was right after your IV. What do you have to say? I couldn't fight back and got beaten up outside the station, with my brother and Alex watching coldly. Till the end, I couldn't grasp why they did this. My body still hurt. Living again, I wasn't gonna let this tragedy replay. My brother's voice sliced through my thoughts, worried. Lily, you gonna help or what? I gotta pick Jamie up. This time, I noticed how tense he was, pushing the blame onto me like he feared Lily would get involved. Is my brother tangled in this too? That thought sent shivers down my spine. I glanced at Lily. She was jittery, eyeing room 302 like it held secrets. I cleared my throat, pretending to stay cool. Can't do it. Just got back tired from the ER. Got other patients to see. Lily was shocked by my refusal, her face turning red. Seriously, it's just the IV. You can't help with that. Even my brother was yelling at you on the phone. Lily, you can't even handle a little thing. I thought you cared. I hung up and went back to my work, ignoring them. Lily rolled her eyes, muttering to herself, useless, can't count on you. Last time I helped her, she threw me under the bus anyway. Let someone else handle that favor. Lily checked around the nurse's desk. No one wanted to help since she's always a pain and skips her shifts. With her tummy now acting up, she cursed and headed to the restroom. Rushing to get someone else to cover for her was already a mess. To test my theory, after Lily left, I put on gloves and went to room 302. Eddie's face was ghostly pale under the moonlight. Lifting the covers to check his temperature left me frozen in shock. His body was cold, even showing signs of rigor mortis. He must have been dead for at least an hour. At 1 a.m., Lily was supposed to handle the IV. Did she realize she gave the wrong stuff and killed someone? So she panicked and wanted someone else to take the fall. The thought chilled me to the bone, filling me with dread. My first instinct was to report to the hospital right away, but as I was about to move, I dismissed the idea. I was in a room where I shouldn't be. Given Lily's knack for shifting blame, would she pin it on me? Not just possible, inevitable. Once I was sure no one saw, I quickly left the room. I sat at the nurse's desk for a long time until I cooled down. Then I realized something crucial. If the patient died around 1 a.m., why did Alex's autopsy report say the time of death was between 5 and 6? Alex's forensic skills are top-notch. He could estimate the time of death within an hour and never messed up. How could such a seasoned pathologist slip up? I felt a sharp pain at the back of my head, struggling to piece it together. Alex and I had our first love. For years, he had my back like a knight. Why would he put me in danger now? All night, I kept busy, deliberately ignoring Lily. She paced back and forth at the nurse's desk, looking restless. As the clock neared 5, she sat with a treatment tray in her hand, showing no signs of handling the IV. Once everyone else was tied up with their tasks, leaving just us at the nurse's desk, she glanced at me and headed to room 302 without a word. Knowing when the relatives would cause a scene, I got up to find a hiding spot. Soon, cries of anguish echoed from room 302, just like in my past life. "My dear grandson, please wake up. Don't scare Grandma." "Son, open your eyes and look at Mom and Dad. What's wrong?" "Oh, Eddie, the doctor said you'd be discharged in a few days. How could this happen suddenly? How will your mom and dad cope?" Amidst the chaos, the relatives stormed the nurse's desk. Eddie's dad, with a tense voice, demanded to know who the attending nurse was and who handled the IV. Lily shrank back in a corner, too scared to admit anything, her eyes darting around looking for me. Other nurses pointed at Lily with frightened looks. Lily was responsible for bed 6. Before Lily could speak, Eddie's dad punched her in the eye. As Lily steadied herself, Eddie's mom kicked her in the stomach. Caught in a pincer move, Lily lay on the ground, wailing, pinned down by Eddie's grandma, yanking her hair. "You killed my precious grandson. I never liked you, you murderer. I'll have you pay with your life." When they saw me approaching, a bloodied Lily pointed at me, screaming, "I'm on duty, but Nora gave the IV. She must have given the wrong meds." In my past life, just as I was about to clock out after a long night, the relatives cornered me at the nurse's desk. When questioned, Lily immediately implicated me. "Nora was on duty that night, and she handled the drip. It's nothing to do with me." I couldn't even explain before they beat me black and blue. Eddie was only 6, the only child in the family. His dad looked tough, his mom was a lawyer, and his grandma was notoriously unreasonable. At 25, I couldn't handle it at all, feeling like fish waiting to be gutted. This time around, Lily wouldn't get away with her tricks. When the relatives glared at me, I raised my hand to clarify. "Don't try to pin this on me. I didn't help her with the IV last night. Everyone can vouch for me." The other nurses quickly backed me up. Though Lily did ask Nora for help last night, Nora refused. Lily administered the IV herself. When she asked me again later, I agreed. "It was around 5 when you all weren't around. Lily handled the IV herself." When she asked me again later, I agreed. "It was around 5 when you all weren't around." Lily's face was bloody, and her voice was shrill, looking ferocious. "This involves a person's life. Who dares confirm that it was me who handled the drip? I bet Nora messed up with the IV and wants to blame it all on me." When it came to something involving a life, everyone hesitated to speak up. The relatives' looks grew angrier, so I spoke up to clear things. "I wasn't there at all. Check the surveillance if you don't believe me. The hallway cameras are broken. You're just trying to dodge responsibility." A subtle smile tugged at Lily's lips, like she had planned the whole thing. No wonder she knew the hallway surveillance was down. So she made sure to go to the room when no nurses were around. Eddie's dad kicked over the computer at the nurse's desk, pounding on the desk. "Whoever did it will pay with their life." Someone in the crowd shouted, "The cops are here." My heart sank. I instantly recognized my brother among the crowd. He finally showed up. He looked pretty surprised seeing Lily on the ground. Why is she the one getting beat up? Crying, Lily covered her wounds. Bro, it really wasn't me who gave the IV. You gotta stand up for me. No, nobody called the police on such short notice. How could my brother have arrived so fast like he knew someone was gonna die here? Under my puzzled gaze, my brother stepped forward and slapped me hard. Lily, I'm so disappointed in you. You messed up. Own up to it. His voice sounded off, like he was a different person. Then he turned to face the family, wearing a gentle expression. I apologize on behalf of Nora. Please spare her as she's still young. I'll personally make sure she's brought to justice and faces the law. My own brother, without even figuring out the truth, couldn't wait to declare me guilty in front of everyone. At this moment, I wasn't just heartbroken, I was dead inside. I was holding my swollen red cheek, unable to stop the tears. I didn't handle the IV. It was Lily. There aren't any of my prints on the vial. You can check if you don't believe me. Lily looked shocked and glanced at me, all pitiful. I even took a beating for you, and now you're still gonna accuse me? Finally, it was Eddie's mom who spoke up. Fine, let the cops investigate. I want to find out who really killed my son and avenge him. Everyone anxiously waited for the fingerprint analysis results during this time. I wasn't worried because I hadn't touched the vial, so there was no way my prints would be on it. But when the results came out, I got hit in the face again. Alex was at the police station too, just watching the drama unfold without saying a word. My brother held the results and scanned the room, finally stopping at me. The fingerprints on the right side of the vial belonged to Nora. The evidence is solid. As soon as he said that, everyone's eyes were on me. Alex had a gloomy look, almost heartbroken. No way, there shouldn't be any of my prints on the vial, unless my brother faked them using his position. Living in the same house, getting my prints would be ridiculously easy for him. But right now, I had no evidence to challenge him. He prides himself on being this righteous cop with a strong sense of justice. In the past, I stupidly thought I'd done something wrong, which made him disappointed in me. No matter how badly he treated me, I never blamed him. Turns out, it was all a trap set by him and Lily from the start, just waiting for me to fall into it. The memories of his kindness seemed so vivid. But when it was a choice between me and Lily, I was always the one to be sacrificed. A brother like that. Forget it. Just as Eddie's parents were about to explode, I quickly raised a point. Did you guys not notice? When you found him, Eddie already had rigor mortis. That doesn't happen right after someone dies. Backtracking the time rigor mortis sets in, it shows he was dead by 2 p.m. At that time, I was busy helping in the ER, and the doctors in the OR can vouch for me. If I could prove Eddie died around 2 p.m., this whole thing would have nothing to do with me. If you really want to find the real killer, maybe consider an autopsy. I imagine Eddie would rest in peace, knowing the truth was out. Eddie's parents looked anguished, silent for a moment, before they nodded. We agree to the autopsy. Lily acted like she was ready, exchanging a glance with Alex. Let Alex, the top coroner from the station, handle the autopsy. He'll surely find the real culprit. Eddie's mom's eyes lit up, looking more at ease. He's the forensic genius, right? Fine, I trust him with the autopsy. We'll finally find who really killed my poor son. In the past, I also looked forward to finding the truth, only to be condemned by Alex's autopsy report. I'd seen this trick before, but I'm not the same person anymore. Seeing my hesitation, Lily sneered. Nora, you having second thoughts about the autopsy? What are you so scared of? I looked at the pre-written text on my phone and hit send. I lifted my head to meet Alex's eyes, once filled with stars and reflections of me, and asked him seriously, Alex, with your skills, you'll find the truth and clear my name, right? Alex adjusted his glasses, his eyes looking down at me with a mix of sincerity and slight arrogance. I won't let an innocent person go wrong, nor will I let a guilty one slip free. All right, this was his last chance from me. If he missed it again, he'd be dooming himself. Fine, I agree to let Alex handle the autopsy. Waiting for the results, my brother came to me, all concerned. Nora, listen to your brother. Confess before the autopsy results. It'll mean a lighter sentence. Medical malpractice resulting in death only gets a max of 3 years. Even if you go in, I can pull strings to take care of you. You'll still be the beloved darling when you come back home." Lily nodded eagerly, looking hopeful. The last time I faced a case involving a death, I panicked. My brother's words easily swayed me. Back then, I was foolishly touched, thinking he truly cared for me. But I didn't even get to a verdict, getting beaten to death by the victim's family at the police station doors. "Just trying to make me take the fall for Lily, huh? Dream on." I glanced at Lily, then voiced it out. "Lily, hear that? You still have time to confess." My brother shot up from his chair. "What's your attitude? I told you to confess, not to make Lily take the blame for you." I opened my hands, pursing my lips. "Once the autopsy results are out, everything will be clear." Lily's chest heaved with fury. "Fine, waste your brother's good intentions and see if you'll regret it. This regret, let's see who really ends up furious. Fine, waste your brother's good intentions and see if you'll regret it. This regret, let's see who really ends up with it." 2 days later, everyone gathered at the police station again. Alex seriously laid out the autopsy report, pointing at me. Time of death was between 5 to 6 p.m. due to an allergic reaction to penicillin, so it was Nora's mistake with the medication that led to allergic shock and death. The exact same words from my past life hit me like a meteor, heavy on my heart. Even though I was ready, it still hurt to breathe. For Lily, my brother and first love would forsake their ethics, blaming me for causing a death. Before I was 8, I was the treasured one between my brother and Alex. The best food was for me. They were always guarding me, fearing I might get bullied. But ever since Lily came along, everything changed. I became the invisible one, the forgotten child. In that case, no more brother or first love for me. I was temporarily held in custody, waiting for further investigation into the case. But I wasn't worried at all. After a few quiet days, Eddie's family stormed the police station, demanding that I pay up, either with money or my life. In my last life, when a lot of the station staff were off duty, Lily suggested I apologize in person to Eddie's family. I ended up beaten to death by the furious family right outside the police station, all under my brother and Alex's watchful eyes. This time, Lily was trying the same trick. With the family causing a ruckus like this, why not have Nora apologize in person to calm things down? If not, your police station will end up embarrassed. Anyone with eyes could see that she wanted the family to beat me to death, leaving no witnesses. My brother and Alex both agreed to the idea. Ignoring my protests, they dragged me to the police station entrance. A bunch of burly men, red-faced and furious, rushed at me the moment they saw me. Just as things were about to go south, someone in the crowd suddenly shouted, "Nora didn't kill Eddie." Everyone turned towards the voice. It was Lawyer Jake, dressed sharply in a suit, holding up an autopsy report. "I was hired by MS Nora to request a second autopsy, and here's the truth." In an instant, my brother and Alex's faces changed. I had prepared for this, planning ahead before the fingerprints were analyzed. After consulting a pro lawyer, I found a way to bypass Alex and get a more authoritative medical examiner for a second autopsy. In case my brother really betrayed me, this was my only hope for a comeback. As all eyes were on him, Jake slowly opened the report. The autopsy results show that the time of death was around 2 a.m. I suspect Alex's report altered the time of death. Alex, the named party, suddenly had his pupils dilate and began stammering. How dare you suspect me? With my years of forensic experience, I question the professionalism of your autopsy results." "Really, Alex? Are you going to question this lead medical examiner's professionalism?" Jake asked, his expression intriguing. Alex scoffed, rolling his eyes in disdain. "Who knows if you found some half-baked medical examiner? What's professional about that?" When Jake turned to the page with the medical examiner's signature, I couldn't help but laugh. "The medical examiner for the autopsy is the very mentor who taught you. Got anything else to say?" The examiner, who educated him, was now doubted by Alex. His face turned red, like he'd been slapped. He lowered his head and stayed silent. Facing my intense glare, my brother reached out to shield Lily behind him. "It can't be Lily. Absolutely not. Lily's always been diligent and responsible. If anything, you're the one who's careless. There were many times she had to cover for your mistakes." I almost laughed out of anger. How could he say these things with such a straight face? Anytime Lily made a colossal blunder, Wasn't I the one fixing it? Afraid that my brother's words weren't enough, Alex chimed in again. So there's no way Lily could have messed up the penicillin. It had to be Nora trying to frame Lily. I crossed my arms, staring him down. And what about you, esteemed forensic expert? How noble does it make you to forge an autopsy report? Alex opened and closed his mouth, growing increasingly agitated. That just means I made a mistake in my judgment. There are always margins of error. Uh, it doesn't prove I intentionally altered the results. You're slandering me. My brother suddenly seemed to remember something and eagerly pulled out his phone. After rummaging through it, he found the fingerprint analysis photo. Right, Alex reminded me. There are always errors, but the fingerprints on the medicine bottle are solid evidence. It proves no one besides you handled that bottle. Doesn't that prove you administered the medication? Can you really say you're blameless? He said, displaying the phone for all to see. Eddie's dad, already furious, rolled up his sleeves, his gaze menacing enough to strangle me. You little witch, what do you have to say? At that moment, I noticed something in the fingerprint photo. Wait a second. I held up my right hand, specifically turning my right index finger. Look at my right index finger. Before this incident, Lily cut it, taking out a sizable chunk, so the fingerprint should be damaged. But this photo shows a perfect print. These must be fake. Caught off guard, my brother was visibly stunned and double-checked several times. Who knows if you intentionally did that later? The day Lily cut me, everyone at the nurse's desk saw. And my wound was so deep, it was the head of the hospital who dressed it. They can all vouch for me. Who would have thought Lily's malicious cut would eventually become the best evidence of my innocence? Isn't this a twist of fate? With the evidence laid bare, my brother couldn't refute it and quickly distanced himself. The fingerprint on the bottle is indisputable, but whether it's real or fake, I don't know. I'm just discussing the matter. What a way to shift the blame, washing his hands of it. Luckily, Eddie's mom wasn't a fool and swiftly pinpointed the key issue. My son died at 2, and you altered the autopsy to show 6. Nora didn't touch the medicine bottle, and her finger was hurt. Yet there's a complete fingerprint. So, my son was killed by that Lily wench. She's the wretch, not only killing my son, but also playing us for fools. Beat her, make her pay for Eddie's life. The enraged family lunged at them, and my brother and his first love tried to intervene, only to end up being pummeled by the family too. Listening to Lily's piercing screams, I thought she might regret suggesting the apology meeting with the family. Isn't this poetic justice? But that wasn't enough. Eddie's mom took out a calculator and started adding up all the expenses. Eddie's upbringing costs, tutoring fees, future care expenses, all of it. Lily's got to fork over $8 million, no ifs, ands, or buts. You guys got to pay up or we're not done here. Lily's face looked like a swollen balloon, and she just lay there on the ground, miserable. I really didn't give the wrong IV. I triple-checked everything and cross-referenced 7 things before the transfusion. No way I made such a rookie mistake. My mind was racing. If it wasn't a slip-up, then are we talking premeditated murder? When she heard the word murder, Lily panicked and shot back. Nora, don't accuse me of stuff I didn't do. Why are you so nervous? Did I say you murdered anyone? Her eyes were darting all over. What does any of this prove? Maybe you injected the patient with penicillin while I was out, setting me up because you're jealous that my brother and Alex back me up. She was babbling. With what I knew about her, something was definitely off. If she did it on purpose, we're not just talking a medical error. That's death penalty territory. Thanks to some new evidence I brought forward, all previous evidence was overturned, and the cops took it seriously, starting a new investigation. My brother and Alex, suspected of neglect, were suspended and had to stay home, waiting for the outcome. It's been rough for all of us. Everyone's been giving me dirty looks like I'm some kind of villain. Hiding in my room, couldn't stop the inevitable run-ins. The moment he saw me, my brother would explode, angrily blaming me. You had to blow this up, didn't you? Now I'm suspended. Happy? You just want to ruin this family. Just admit it was all your fault or I'm done calling you my brother. Alex sent me a text, cutting ties, with biting words. Nora, don't contact me ever again. Act like we never met. I was wrong about you. Our past memories might as well have been fed to dogs. Don't be me ever again. Act like we never met. I was wrong about you. Our past memories might as well have been fed to dogs. Don't be a bother anymore. If I weren't mentally tough, they'd have broken me. They play the victim while trying to paint me as the villain, keeping a straight face while lying through their teeth, reversing blame, flipping the narrative. When I refused to play by their rules, they lost it and started slandering me. I wouldn't fall into their new traps by defending myself. Before they could block me, I blocked them first. I up and moved out, waiting for karma to catch up with them. As the investigation deepened, Lily became the main suspect, under house arrest while they dug further. But I knew I couldn't relax until she confessed. As long as she didn't, I couldn't clear my name. If she found any chance, she'd strike back. I needed more evidence, so I returned to the hospital. Everything circled back to the penicillin that caused Eddie's allergic reaction. Lily knew Eddie was allergic, yet she still infused it by mistake. Was that a coincidence? If it wasn't an accidental mix-up, there was only one reason Lily did it on purpose. But why? Why target a 7-year-old kid? My thoughts hit a wall, interrupted by commotion outside the hospital entrance. Turned out Eddie's family had been causing a ruckus, demanding compensation from the hospital. This heartless place killed my son, and no one's taking responsibility. It's your hospital's fault, and you gotta pay up. If no one's gonna pay, blood for blood. My son's death must be avenged. Look, everybody, this hospital gave my son the wrong IV and killed him. You'd still trust them with your health? They're killing people. I couldn't help but shake my head. While I'm not against compensation, they don't seem all that upset, do they? Just cash-focused. A colleague pointed out, "Did you see? Eddie's mom is expecting." Instantly, we all knew what was going on. A few coworkers couldn't resist gossiping and started venting. Lily something, huh? She was warned about how patient in bed 6 is tough. She should have been more careful. That's a life we're talking about. It's not her first mistake with Eddie, and she never learns. Like a dam breaking, my blocked thoughts flowed freely. Right, she already had issues with them. Lily definitely had a motive. A week ago, she almost messed up an IV. I caught it just in time. That patient was Eddie. Eddie's grandma praised me and then tore Lily a new one. Even filed a complaint. Lily got a major demerit and lost her bonus. It was her fault, but she held a grudge, complaining to my brother and Alex afterward. That brat is always causing problems, yanking people's oxygen, spilling water in sockets, and I get blamed. How dare his family complain about me? They should have injected the wrong stuff and ended that little brat. Instead of stopping her, my brother chimed in, totally, and it didn't even happen in the end. The hospital's just too harsh. Alex glared at me with displeasure. Part of this is on Nora. She should have given a heads up quietly. Didn't have to make it such a big thing to show off. I was shocked they'd think like that. I lost it for the first time. A wrong IV is a medical mistake. You can't have such a careless attitude. What if someone died? They're usually such sticklers, always lecturing me over small mistakes, but bending over backward for Lily. Unreal. We argued to no end. I was outnumbered. Lily smugly stuck her tongue out. Care about that brat so much, why not join him in dying someday? I never thought those words would come true. Is that the motive here? Intentional revenge. I quickly reached out to a friend at the hospital to help check Lily's medication records. What he found was huge. Lily had picked up penicillin that was meant for another patient the next day, but the medication record for that patient didn't have any penicillin listed. I was excited but calmed myself down soon. Even though all the evidence pointed to Lily intentionally poisoning Eddie, it was all just speculation. Lily needed to admit she used the penicillin on Eddie, but no one would be stupid enough to confess to murder. By the time I got back to the nurse's desk, Eddie's family had already left. I was a bit puzzled and asked my coworker, "They left already?" "Yeah, Lily was here. She admitted she mixed up the meds, causing the incident, and offered compensation to keep the family quiet. They dropped the case, and that solved everything." Well, what else? It's all about the money in the end. Once Lily offered to pay, Eddie's parents just started negotiating the price. Eddie's folks are really gutsy, asking for $8 million. Even selling Lily wouldn't get that much. Lily messed up, tried to blame Nora, but when that didn't work, she caved. Really hard to say. Everyone kept chatting like it all blew over just like that. The matter was resolved, and the hospital restored my position, but I still felt uneasy. Lily isn't someone to simply take a loss. Why agree to such a huge payout while changing meds for a patient? A coworker called out to me. Nora, finish up and check the link I sent. It's bad news. My heart sank. I had a gut feeling this was serious trouble. Once I finished, I pulled out my phone. The link opened to a video with Lily's familiar face in front of the camera. She sat in her white nurse uniform, bowing sincerely before tears welled up. First, my deepest apologies to Eddie's family. I did mess up the medication. It's my fault, but there's something I've wanted to say for a long time. And I'm using the internet to speak up today. When Eddie's condition worsened, I was about to call for a doctor. But my sister Nora insisted it was a normal reaction and even accused me of overreacting. As a nurse, I haven't been doing it as long as she has, and she's my sis, always bossing me around. I was too scared to fight back, just believed her, and regretted it my entire life. After it happened, she pushed all the blame on me, and I was the only one brave enough to face it and compensate the family. Now, Nora is still working at that hospital. How many more patients will suffer under her care? I'm coming forward because I care about the patients' lives, even if it means no longer being a nurse. Her sincere words drew supportive comments. It's admirable she's taking responsibility, especially for a young girl. Some medical staff are so unprofessional and hurt others. Why is she still working? I really feel for this sister. My sis is the same, never admitting when she's wrong. The compensation should come from Nora, not just the sister. It's unfair. I've started a campaign against this Nora. Let's go after her. A lot of repetitive IPs in the comments screamed fake accounts, but the uninformed were clearly swayed. Even my video account was bombarded with hateful messages and comments. I was called in for a talk right after work. We've been flooded with complaints today. The hospital can't keep you. We hope you understand. I had always been diligent, won countless accolades, but now I felt utterly powerless and foolish. Not much of a fight. I packed up and left. At the hospital entrance, amidst a sea of nasty messages, one stood out. Nora, I have a secret to tell you. Clutching my belongings, a squad of big guys surrounded me outside my apartment building. Leading them was Eddie's dad. He gripped a baseball bat, looking hostile. Had you saved my son, he wouldn't have died. They said I'd handle the compensation, so it's my responsibility. If you can't pay today, don't blame us for taking it out on you. I stepped back in fear. Who says it's up to me to pay? We do. Turning back, my brother and Alex flanked Lily, confronting me with icy stares. Lily's already taken the heat for you. Isn't $8 million your debt, Nora? Or do you plan to escape responsibility? Aren't you as a nurse liable too? I chuckled. I should ask you the same. As people, aren't you responsible too? If you love Lily so much, why not die for her or pay her debt? This shut them both up instantly. My brother breathed heavily, then told Eddie's dad, if she won't admit her fault, go ahead and beat her. Debts must be paid. Lives for lives. And as family, we won't hold charges. The bat inched close to my head. I raised my phone. Your son was murdered by Lily, not by accident. Everyone froze. Eddie's dad trembled, disbelief on his face. What did you say? If you're lying, I'll kill you. My brother quickly cut me off. Nora, don't talk nonsense. I just ignored him and started speaking slowly. Someone sent me a video as evidence. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. I hit play. In the dim staircase, Lily was sneakily making a phone call. She looked anxious, pacing around, her voice tinged with a sob. What do I do? I just wanted to teach Eddie that brat a lesson, so I gave him some penicillin he's allergic to. I just wanted him to suffer a bit. Didn't think his reaction would be so severe, and he'd die. The night was so quiet, my brother's voice was easily recognizable. On the other end, he carefully instructed Lily. Around 5, you still need to do another infusion, so get Nora to cover for you. Pretend you have a stomachache and go home. When they find out he's dead, push everything onto Nora. Don't worry. With me around, you'll be safe. So, my already numb heart still throbbed hearing these words. She then called Alex. What if Eddie's family demands an autopsy? Won't the time of death get exposed? Alex sounded confident. I'll make sure the time of death appears to be after 5. No one will suspect you then. The video was sent to me by a private message. The sender said his son was hospitalized and, to save money, slept in the staircase at night. He overheard Lily on the phone, got curious, and recorded it. I sincerely thanked him for the video evidence. Turns out he was even more sincere than me. Nurse Nora, I should thank you. We were out of options when my son couldn't afford his hospital fees, and that Lily nurse mocked us for being country folk, saying we shouldn't be there if we couldn't pay. You gave us the money for the fees and rallied others to donate. Otherwise, we'd have gone back to our small town waiting to die. My son recovered and got discharged. Don't blame me for reaching out so late. If I hadn't seen Lily's slander online, I wouldn't have known. Funny enough, if she hadn't taunted us, she wouldn't have left such an impression, and I wouldn't have filmed the video. Good and bad deeds always have their outcomes. Turns out my kindness unknowingly helped me. And Lily, she sowed what she reaped, dragging herself into the abyss. After the video, Eddie's father already had clenched fists, glaring at Lily with bloodshot eyes. My son, my poor son, you murdered him. He was only 7, just a kid. Why did you do this to him? I don't want money anymore. I want your life. At that moment, Eddie's dad was like an enraged lion. My brother Sam stood in front of Lily, previously swearing he'd never hold me responsible, now using his status for intimidation. Don't lose it, or you'll all get arrested. As soon as he said that, a baseball bat connected with his face, sending teeth mixed with blood flying. That swing must have hit just right. Sam fell and started convulsing. Alex, seeing this, didn't dare to intervene, but before he could say he's innocent, he got taken down and kicked. A few kicks in, his glasses shattered, shards lodged deep in his eye socket. Alex's eyeball ruptured, bleeding profusely. Lily tried to bolt but didn't get far before being kicked to the ground. A group of guys surrounded her, each landing a punch like they were pounding a bag of sand. Her hair and teeth scattered on the ground, her body battered all over. Police cars took Eddie's family away, and ambulances took Lily and the others. They all stayed in the ICU for over a month. Compared to my last life dying from a beating, they got off easy. Once they recovered, Alex became one-eyed, Sam became paralyzed. But that wasn't the end. The real nightmare was just beginning. As soon as they left the hospital, they were taken into police cars. With so much evidence, the special investigation team quickly reached a verdict. Lily intentionally caused death with her attitude and refusal to change, facing almost guaranteed death penalty. Sam and Alex were charged with abetting a criminal, abusing their power for personal gain, and covering up evidence. They got expelled from the party and faced criminal charges. They ended up with nothing and had to serve time. I went to see them one last time. Do you regret it? I asked. Lily stayed silent. Sam lowered his head, his shoulders shaking with socks, involuntarily twitching his face as he spoke. Nora, it's all my fault. I'm sorry. Alex hid his blinded eye with his bangs, devoid of its old brilliance. If I could do it over, I would choose differently. Nora, I made a mistake. Watching their handcuffed wrists, I exhaled deeply. A nurse meant to save lives ended up dying from her own murderous intent. A cop with a bright future became the scorn of all. The idolized forensic genius, left in darkness with one eye. This surely is karma. What goes around comes around. No one escapes the heavenly way.